Previously on Talk That Talk.
I mean, he went to South Carolina State, and he wasn't too fond of or really too much worried about basically making sure that we were properly assisted with rhythms and just understanding percussion. I mean, it literally would turn into like, hey, one of y'all get over here and just make something up, or y'all play, you know what I'm saying? Things like that. It would turn into that, or it would turn into just, we were fending for ourselves, like, because we were all we had. Like, and so then, like, let's fast forward to now.
Is that what a stepchild? That's how we can say we've been
Yeah,
treated
yeah, I
like
guess you could say that. Yeah, I guess you
stepchildren.
could say that for back then. But then when I graduated from college, my degree is in music industry. When I graduated from college, um, the current band director, he asked me to basically come and be the percussion instructor at Wilson High School. And because I marched with him in high school, I was like, well, shoot, that's cool. I'll, come and help out. As soon as I got there, and this isn't to belittle any of the students that I had when I first got there in 2018. When I first got there, like, none of those kids had a clue. And when I say they didn't have a clue, they didn't have a clue about nowhere near half of the rudiments. I'm talking about like the basic rudiments. Did not understand how to properly count a half note, quarter note, 16th note, just all kinds of things. So like, I at that point, you know what I'm saying, you kind of get, I won't say frustrated, but you kind of like backtracking. Because you got to do the work of all of the work that was not done from that elementary school and middle school level and then high school level. I'm talking about these people like juniors and seniors. So it's like, you got to try to scramble up, knowing it's going to take you a little bit longer than, a year to 2 years to process years worth of knowledge that you're really supposed to have prior to you going to college. So it turns into like what Paul said. It's kind of like you, and pretty much all y'all have said it, you're teaching for them to properly learn the correct way and learn rhythms and learn your rudiments and challenge them. But the real challenge as a percussion instructor comes in, and we know how to handle it. Granted, not complaining at all, but it's just that the difficult part being that the kids do not know prior to high school and prior to you being a percussion instructor is you're practicing to perform versus practicing to understand, because it's like the schedule and the time is rolling. The band has a band show for the upcoming year. You got these performances coming up, and then in drumline rehearsal, you trying to teach how to read music, but then you can't devote too much time to doing it because you gotta have this ready for this deadline for the band director. So it's like, and then you can't. I mean, these high school kids, you can't really schedule them on weekends because you got to deal with their parents. So it's like, how are you able to really, you know what I'm saying, really get them there? So it turns into a lot. It's a whole lot to it. So it's like a lot of the kids, I feel like a lot of this comes in prior to high school, and it's lack of the proper teaching for these kids to really grow up and really understand rhythms. And then we got to basically pick up the slack. And then when they get to college, like some of these high school guys that still don't have collegiate or percussion instructors, they go into college and they still don't know how to read. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, and I know people look at it, I guess, like, well, how you don't know how to read? A lot of states do not have access, or people that even want to be in those roles to take on that amount of work to get students to understand what it is to read rhythms and to interpret this and interpret that. A lot of people are impatient and they don't want to have the patience to sit down to teach those kids that. But when you do it, I do think that the kids are very appreciative of it. And whether people know it or not, like, even if it had never been done, you're starting a new tradition.